Extraction shooters have carved out a niche in recent years, but few attempt to fuse their high-stakes loop with outright psychological horror, but that's exactly what the Mound sets out to do. Developed by Ace Team, this co-op PvE experience blends scavenging, survival, and tense extractions with the creeping dread of Lovecraftian cosmic horror, where the environment itself feels as dangerous as any enemy. With shifting realities, unreliable senses, and teamwork pushed to its limits, it's shaping up to be a very different kind of jungle expedition. So here are 15 things that we think you should know before you buy. A Lovecraft-inspired co-op PvE extraction shooter. Drawing inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft's novella of the same name, the Mound plunges you deep into uncharted jungle, with up to 3 fellow explorers in search of artifacts and riches. Except there's unknowable danger lurking beneath the canopy. While the extraction genre is familiar, nuts and bolts drive the action here: loadout stations, deploying to hostile lands, scavenging loot, and surviving long enough to hightail it out of there. The Mound leans into Lovecraftian cosmic horror to warp the very fabric of reality, testing the trust of your team. Each expedition is a descent into madness. Replicating a key theme in Lovecraft's novella, in the Mound, the further you trek into the forest, the more susceptible you become to madness, paranoia, and hallucinations. The game presents traps and distractions, making you question what you actually see and hear, from sensory illusions, footsteps unknown in the undergrowth, to shifting colors and distortion, to unpredictable threats, like imaginary trinkets materializing over spike-filled pits, laying invisible to your gaze. Each player perceives reality differently, too, so whilst you're unaware of the doom in front of you, your teammates can step in. Communication is crucial, and this brings us neatly onto the next thing that you need to know. In the Mound, communication with your teammates is crucial to survival. The game uses spatialized voice chat, where the volume and direction of your comrade's voice adjusts depending on their proximity to you. Now, this isn't just for realism and immersion, but deep inside the jungle there will be times when the figure you're seeing may or may not be your ally. In these very moments, detecting their location through sound might be the only lifeline that you've got. Gameplay follows established extraction formula. Once your expedition begins in earnest, the gameplay loop involves scavenging for riches, food, weapons, and other resources, including mysterious metal ephemera that signals the location of high-value loot with a clang. You'll also encounter indigenous stragglers and maroon survivors. The latter you may be asked to rescue. Abandoned forts of failed expeditions yield valuable intel, while an overarching objective is to locate the titular Mound. Here, as Lovecraft's novella explains, is the gateway to a subterranean underworld filled with striking architecture and abhorrent monsters. Whether the game treads the same narrative path remains to be seen, but the sentiment is that the Mound is an epicenter for wealth and prosperity, hence, your captain and overseer demands you find it. Your captain outfits your squad before each run. Before embarking on a treasure hunt, however, you'll spend time aboard the Tempestad, your home galleon which serves as a base of operations. Across its creaking decks and amongst its dimly lit enclaves, you can speak to the ship's cook, who will advise on the best foodstuffs to retrieve on land, request a tune from the resident loot player, and pet the ship's sleepy dog. As far as hub worlds go, the Tempestad is rife with noxious atmosphere, but it's the captain whom you'll need to address before departing for the coast. He'll offer a pre-run contract for you to sign, usually revolving around finding specific items or locations, and returning with a minimum loot value. In exchange for your services, he provides weapons, gear, and resources. Inventory space is limited. From the outset, at least, you'll have just 6 slots in your inventory. That's room for a flintlock pistol, a machete, some gunpowder, perhaps an item of food, and 2 spare for whatever you pick up on the mainland. There is, however, an ox cart which trails your expedition's progress, and there is room in its trunk for collected items, plus anything surplus on deck. But here's the thing, that pistol, that machete, well, the captain doesn't give you one each. Together with your team, you'll actually need to strategize before setting off, deciding who takes the rifle and who gets the sailor's knife. Guns don't work in the rain. And actually it rains quite a lot in the jungle, so if you've got a flintlock or matchlock firearm, be prepared for it to malfunction once the heavens open up. Balancing firepower with blunt force team-wide is said to be the dominant strategy then, not least because ammo and gunpowder are scarce. What's more, intense moisture and condensation makes oil lamps flicker nervously, making it harder to see structures through the dense mire. If it wasn't clear by now, this jungle is not your friend, not at all. Excess noise can wake the forest. Here's the other problem with guns. They're, of course, loud. Popping the head off some eldritch stalker might seem like the fastest way to clear the forest's immediate threat, but it's a surefire way to cause more trouble for yourself and for your team. You see, the jungle doesn't want you there, but the intimation is that it lies dormant unless disturbed. If it is awoken, a gauntlet of hostile enemies will converge on your location. And it isn't just firearms. The clink of sprinting armor, the splash of a river crossing, the echoing horn of a lost ox cart, these are all trade-offs that you'll need to assess moment by moment. Sometimes sneaky, stealthy approaches are the most viable strategies. The jungle is a character. Now, if it wasn't clear by now, the Mound's jungle is as fleshed out of an assailant as any of its tentacled zombies. Heck, it's arguably more characterful than the archetypes you choose to command back on the Tempestad, but more on those four next. You see, Ace Team has leaned heavily into art direction, atmosphere, and sound design. Mist blankets, envelops, and evolves. The rot of mushrooms sprouting wood moans in the breeze. Bird call, specific to the region of Chile you're exploring, pierces through the inky black night. You could go as far to say that the jungle's aesthetic design grows into mechanical resistance. It has a personality of its own. 4 character archetypes. Yep, there are 4 distinct archetypes which you can choose before entering the fray. Alonso de la Torre is a pacifist, somewhat nihilistic former soldier who is unmoved by war or riches. He sees wealth simply as freedom. Leonor is a fugitive, having fled Spain after remorseless murder. Don Rodrigo de Medina is a nobleman jaded by war like Alonso. He seeks honor and truth. How their story pans out remains to be seen, of course, but one thing you need to know is that these archetypes are cosmetic only. They don't have unique skills or abilities. Progression earned is shared. Completing the captain's contract objectives yields currency of your own, plus XP for leveling up and story progression. And it's this latter element that is confirmed to be shared across each player across the team. The jungle forces you to work together regardless, but advancing the story together too is also further incentivizing your teamwork. Can be played solo. The Mound can be played solo, with computer-controlled allies joining you on your expeditions. However, Ace Team has deliberately designed the game around co-op, thus venturing into the wilds on your own isn't just inadvisable, but grows increasingly unviable long-term. Contracts reflect the number of human players though, so if you must set forth solo, you'll be rewarded accordingly. Release date, platforms, and price. The Mound is scheduled for release on July 15th, with PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Steam the confirmed platforms. Price-wise, you're looking at $29.99 for the standard digital edition and $39.99 for the Deluxe Edition. For console players, there is currently a 10% pre-order discount running until the launch date. If you're on PC and fancy giving the game a go before committing to a purchase, there is a free demo available now on the game's Steam page. Deluxe Edition Overview. Alongside the base game and the Lost Explorer's Sword Pack, the Mound's Deluxe Edition includes the Abyssal Gear Pack and Fortune Hunter's Character Pack. That's extra cosmetics, 2 more characters, and a dangerous new area to explore for a 10 or more. PC requirements. As detailed on the game's Steam page, to run the Mound at a minimum, your PC needs to be outfitted with an Intel Core i7-8700K, or AMD Ryzen 5 1600X CPU. Now, graphics-wise, you'll need a GTX 1660 Super 6GB and AMD Radeon RX 5600 XT 6GB, or Intel Arc A7700 16GB. The recommended settings list an Intel Core i7-11700K, or AMD Ryzen 5 5500 CPU and an RTX 3070 8GB, or AMD Radeon RX 6750 XT 12GB GPU. 16GB of RAM is the baseline memory, whatever your hardware. Also, as noted on the Steam page, this information is subject to change, so it'll be worth keeping your eye on the details in the lead up to launch. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.